We're just two college best friends in our mid-20s trying to navigate adulthood, our careers, and everything in between.
We created this podcast as a creative outlet for us to talk about whatever's on our minds and create a community with our listeners. We can't wait to take you on this journey. Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Nail Girl Podcast. This is episode number 7.
7, 6. However you keep counting it.
6 plus a bonus. Anyway, y'all, we got a lot to get into today. But before we get started with all of that, make sure y'all go check out our episode from last week when we talked about the Grammys. So today we're going to be talking about...
Girl, I thought you said talk about the grannies. Oh! I was like, who? I said, what grannies did we talk? We talked about the Grammys.
You know what? Whatever. The Grammys. The Grammys. But
the grannies.
We already started this episode off crazy. But anyway, y'all, today's topic is going to be our experience growing up in church. But before we get into the thick of all of that, we're going to talk about our Nail Girl Moment of the Week. So, Lauren, tell them what our Nail Girl Moment of the Week is.
Our Nail Girl Moment of the Week is something that happened, what is it? The 8th? So it just happened fresh today. It is a DDG and Halle breakup quote.
The G.
Girl, I don't know why I felt like I was going to do like the Penny Brown. He was like, what is it? Where Big Boy was announcing LPDZ. I felt like I was going to go with one of them, but it's the DDG and Halle breakup, quote unquote, because some sources say they've broken up, some sources say that they haven't. It's kind of up in the air right now, but what do you think? You think they broke up? You think he's trying to just play and make it seem like he's doing it?
At first, I was like, this is not real. This is like for marketing. Because if y'all like know DDG or you follow DDG,
he is a YouTuber.
He's a YouTuber turned rapper, but he still does YouTube too. That's what he mainly is known for. And he does stuff like this for marketing. A lot of YouTubers do, and which is nothing wrong with that because, I mean, hey, do what you do. Yep. But at first, I was like, this is definitely marketing because Halle was still following him. At first, like she said, this is fresh off the press, y'all. This is like the last 24 hours.
It's all literally changing in like 2 minutes split.
Right. And it's been so many updates. So at first, I was like, this is play. Because he made I think the reason why everybody said something is first he made a tweet. It was like, all these girls are the same. And then, you know how people do. They'll go see, is he still following Halle? And he wasn't. And he took their pictures off. So at first, I was definitely like, this is like marketing. But now after Halle unfollowed him and she took the pictures off and Halle's sister said something, I think it's real.
When she said that, but she was like, she said, regardless of what y'all had going through, keep it off the internet, which I think is the truest thing, like, anybody could say. Like, regardless, you my sister, cousin, whatever, don't bring this drama on the internet, because now he's walked back to everything he said and deleted half of his comments he put on Twitter, everything like that. Now he has up on Twitter, like, mind the business, something that pays you, or just like be mindful of my business, like don't try to get in our business or whatever. But it's like, if you first of all post something that big like that, you cannot expect for people to be coming for you, because the thing was, when he posted that, the assumption was that Halle went out and cheated on him, which is not, which we don't know it's true, but that's the assumption.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think she would. I don't think she would do something like that.
But we don't know, but I don't see her doing that. But
but I will say, girl,
I don't know.
If you see, you're not on Twitter like I am. I'm your Twitter sleuth, girl. If you was on Twitter and saw all them comments eating DDG up, girl, they were hilarious. They said, regardless if the woman did cheat, okay, who are you? Basically, they said, who are you? Which is like the lowest of low type of thing. Like, who you to say something?
They were super cute together too. I actually like them together. I know a lot of people had a lot of comments because of him and his dating history. I thought that they were cute together, and then I think they were going to last a long, long, long time. I could see maybe, but then
It was like, to me,
watching.
it was kind of like a, she was very mature, and he's almost, to me, because I don't know the man. Okay, I don't know him like that, and I also don't watch any of his YouTube videos. But to me, Holly is always the most like mature, kind of like when I see stuff pop up on TikTok, like literally in all the videos that he posts on YouTube. I'm surprised that she's in them. You know what I'm saying? Because like I just didn't think she would
He
be in them. Like,
she is a very mature like person in her personality, but
mhm.
strangely enough, his like over the top how he is, it fits with how she is
Her very
somehow.
how calm she is. I mean, it does work.
They like compliment each other,
Uh huh.
and yeah, because they literally but then all of this is so crazy too because literally people was like they were just at the Rock Nation brunch together,
Verse
I
together. Like
believe, and that was the
how in the
weekend.
world, yeah, how in the world did that change in like a couple, which, it can, that can very much happen, but like that's just
Yeah,
like, that was real quick. If anything did happen, like honestly, we could be saying this now, and tomorrow it comes out he got something dropping, or like it could just be like, oh haha, it was a prank.
right.
Like it could be one of those things. But like, I don't know, even if it was a prank, I don't think that's, to me, if I was Hallie, that wouldn't be a haha prank. Like that wouldn't be funny. That's not a.
I don't think it's a prank because yes, DDG is known for like trying because he did release a song today. Crazy enough, I don't think that because of who DDG is and how he does stuff like this from time to time. I don't see
Uh-huh.
Hallie being in on it like this for real, for real. Like we just said, she's more mature. Like, well, how she presents herself. So I don't think she would be on. And then for her sister,
Mm-hmm.
their sister don't come out and say nothing. For her sister to have to come out and say
And say
something,
something like that, because
I
girl,
think
he
it's
didn't.
some truth to it.
Because he didn't walk back and talk about nobody cheated on nobody. Don't take my tweets too serious. You don't say something like that. Uh.
I think that he's used to like in the past because like he before he dated Hallie, he was dating like Ruby Rose, and
Uh huh.
I think that like the girls he's used to messing with are a
He
lot
won't.
different than
He
Hallie.
won't
Like
expect the whole army to come up behind him and be like, "Wait a minute,
I don't know.
don't do that."
He should have known, but yeah, like I
Mhm.
think this is just a whole different ballgame. So he know that people love Hallie so much. She's the Little Mermaid, okay?
Yep.
So
And girl,
people
her
are gonna come for
the
him. Just
the
in
trailer
general.
comes out right after this, either the day of the Super Bowl, like right at like the Super Bowl halftime. So just be on the lookout for that. That'll probably be our now girl moment next week, because, well, actually, hold on,
Yeah.
I lied. Yeah, but the next time we talk, y'all, it'll probably be now girl moment of the week, because one, the actual trailer's coming out. Two, Rihanna is Super Bowl halftime show, and
Okay, we definitely gotta talk about the halftime
I
show.
I do, I love football. Denny is not a fan of football, but she will watch because Rihanna is going to perform. So so
Yeah.
we'll see how
But
this
yeah.
goes.
I think but I also saw something interesting on the Impressive channel on YouTube. I like her
Okay.
commentary on a lot of stuff. She was saying that um she felt like that DDG and Hallie were gonna break up eventually anyway because once the Little Mermaid comes out, Hallie is on a whole nother
She's on a
like
whole time
not
schedule,
to be like mean. No,
but
not even time. I'm talking about just
oh, you talk
like
like a
stardom,
artist. Yeah, I feel it, because like,
status wise.
not to say he's like not famous, but he's like surface level famous. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like a, I don't want to say like a BC list celebrity, but like not many people know of him.
He
And
is. I
honestly,
would consider him a. I guess for some people, he would be like a B, but I think he's more so a
yeah,
C to D list. Not
yeah,
saying that's not bad, y'all, because there's
it's not
a
bad.
lot
I
of
mean,
your favorite celebrities
because
are like
girl,
C and D list.
exactly. Because you
Um,
think about it, he making more money than us, so it ain't none, ain't no hate to the man, but but
I
being
like
real,
DDG. Like I said, I thought they
yeah,
were really cute together, and like I wanted them to
yeah,
obviously be happy. But she said something interesting, and I didn't think of it. She like because of who he is. Now that doesn't really mean anything because there's a lot of women in Hollywood that are married and vice versa, men and women that their spouse is just a regular, smegular person,
person.
like
Yep.
not in the
What's her
limelight,
name?
and they're
Um,
happy.
and if y'all look at it, what's her name? Naomi, and what's his name? The tennis player and the
Naomi,
rapper. Yeah, ain't that her name? You know who I'm talking
Naomi
about. But go ahead.
Osaka,
Yes, them two.
and
I forget the man's. He's a rapper. I forget that boy's name.
Corday.
Yes, girl. They said he talking about he collecting checks off that woman. But go ahead with your point. I'm sorry. Go ahead with
Oh
your
my
point.
god, I need to stop. Corday is somebody. He is
You know
somebody.
he literally put on. He's like, yeah, now I can just sit back and collect checks for the rest of my life. Like he knew what was up. I thought it was funny, but go ahead with your point, my bad girl. I just had to bring that up.
But yeah, so I just feel like, yeah, like that doesn't really mean anything. Cause like I said, there's a lot of people that are celebrities, like the man or the woman that their spouse is just somebody regular. But she was talking about like how she's once you are part of like Disney, something big like that, something
They take care of their Disney
wholesome like that.
people.
That's what
Yes.
they no. That's what they was. That's another point she was making. Like she don't Hallie doesn't need all this drama because of what she got going on. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, if they get back together, that's good for them. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, y'all be going through a rough patch. They might be going through a little rough patch right now, but you can see clear as day that they loved each other. Clear
It
as
was
day.
cute. She took him on vacations. He would always do her favorite stuff. I mean, it was cute back and forth. Like he did stuff to
Mm-hmm.
make her laugh. Like it was a cute relationship. But hopefully they work
Yeah.
things out.
I want to see everybody happy, and if that means they work it out, good. If that means that they
Yep.
don't, then best for them. I like both of them. So yeah.
Yep.
That's our Now Girl moment of the week, y'all. Remember, our Now Girl moment of the week is just a moment during the week that we talk about, give our thoughts on. Like, it's all sorts of pop culture topics in one night. So, yeah, that's
So
the moment
during the week.
during the week. Or, like, what's been happening, what we want to speak on, give our 2 cents on. So, that's our Now Girl moment of the week. And we call it a Now Girl moment of the week because we about Now Girl. Because when I saw this, DDG and Hallie, I was like, Now Girl,
Girl,
come on, y'all. In the break up.
I said that was interesting. Sitting that word
I'm like,
scroll on my phone.
bro,
I said, oh, okay, that's cute. That's real
I
cute.
just saw they was just in Dubai for Beyonce's concert.
They show that's why it doesn't make sense to me because
I
they just did all this stuff together. But I mean, then
I
again, we only
know.
see pictures of face to face, so we don't know what's going on
Yeah, we
behind
don't
closed
know,
doors.
but best of luck to both of them. But now let's get into the meat of the podcast,
The meat.
the heavy hitter of the podcast, which is the topic of the podcast, which is our experiences, stories, whatever, growing up in church, because we know that there's a lot of people out there like us that grew up in church, and growing up in church can have different meanings for everybody. So we're just gonna give like our stories, how we feel about it, and all of that. So you want me to go first, girl? Telling
Yeah, I'm sorry.
my background.
Yeah, girl, you cut out a little bit, but go ahead.
All right, girl. So, all right. So I would say I definitely grew up in church for real. Like in my definition, I did. Like I was the type to like we was going to church on Wednesday night for Bible study. We was going to church on Sundays. We was going to church. Like we had 2 services. We was going to 2 services.
Girl, y'all
Like
had Hallelujah night.
vacational
You went to
Bible
Hallelujah night.
school. I said vacational Bible school.
Mm.
Vacation Bible school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hallelujah nights. Things like that. Now, in my situation, I like was in the church when I was little, and then my mama she won't with Jesus then, so we wasn't really in the church like that. And then we went back again,
Mm-hmm.
and then we came out. We went back and forth a lot, but I do
Uh-huh.
have a home church that like I spent most of my years in, and we did because we moved around a little bit, so we did go to different churches. So I had different
Mm-hmm.
experiences at different churches, but my
Mm-hmm.
main experience was at my home church. So yeah, I was at group in church literally my entire life, and even if my mama wasn't going, like when we was
You
with
was
my
going with
grandma,
somebody.
I was going with
Uh-huh.
my grandma because my grandma goes to the same church. So yes, like we is in there. Vacation Bible school, like I said, Sunday
Mm-hmm.
services.
Were y'all like
Um,
a Pentecostal Baptist? What was your
so my
denomination?
pastor says, well, technically, he says that we're non-denominational, but non-denominational churches have a different meaning today than they did in the past.
Yes, they definitely do.
So
And
non
girl, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure our church felt the exact same thing about how it was because it's a
yeah.
weird.
Now non-denominational churches are considered the churches like Elevation Church,
Yes, because
Transformation.
back in the day, they considered it almost like, oh, you can wear jeans, like we're not as traditional. Now I think
No,
if girl,
mine
that's
like
just
that. See, that's y'all.
girl.
This is gonna get
I'm
fishy.
telling you, that's what we did. Our church was we were like, oh, we're non-denominational, but we still like dressed up. Like the whole entire thing was, I was like, why are we saying non-denominational if we still coming in
But
here? You know, like, but we consider
mhm.
ourselves. Did y'all do modern day Pentecostal?
No,
What were
I'm gonna tell
y'all?
you.
Uh
So
oh.
we consider ourselves. Well, we consider ourselves non-denominational. Like technically, like my mama considered herself non-denominational, but we
Uh huh.
don't. We did not non-denominational was not looked at the same way that it is now. Like I said,
Mm-mm.
because of the types of churches that are now that are currently considered non-denominational, they didn't have those type of churches when we was growing up. Like the Elevation Church and the Transformation Church, all these churches they didn't just pop up because I mean Elevation has been around for like 17 years, but in the past like 6 7 years
5 year.
they
They
really
just
kind of blew up. So for us, non-denominational was like we not like our church name doesn't have
they have Baptist or like
yeah, it don't have like we don't consider
you know,
Baptist,
like you
but
got like what, like the temple of what, like all of that.
yeah,
It was
yeah. So
we
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 grew
weren't one of
up.
those either.
If you had to classify us, it would be holiness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and y'all low key, all the denominations are roughly the same,
They're
give
roughly
or
the same.
take a couple of tweaks here and there, but
Mm-hmm.
we're holiness. My church was very much traditional. Like,
Mm.
our pastor very much traditional. Like,
Girl, your pastor wear
no
the robes.
pants. Yeah, pastor wore robes. Things have gotten a lot more lenient now. I don't go to
Mm-hmm.
church anymore, but in the past like 5 or 6 years, things have gotten a little bit more. No, I would say about 8. Things have gotten a little bit more
Okay.
lenient. But like no pants in church, like
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday or on any like
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So we're very traditional in that sense, and they have like a very traditional mindset in all
Mm-hmm.
aspects of things.
Girl, what was
Um,
your traditional? What was one of your things you couldn't go to?
well,
Cause girl.
see, that's the thing. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. My mom. So basically, the church that I grew up in is a church that my mom grew up in, and
Uh
when
huh.
they were younger, they had all the rules like, oh, like you can't go to the movie theater, you can't go to
Yep,
prom,
girl.
stuff like that. But
Yes.
my mama is like I would say my mama is like a low key a rebel because that's how she was when she was a
Listen.
teenager. But
Uh huh.
when she not I said not when she got with us. When she had us, me and my brother, and we started
Mm-hmm.
to grow up, we didn't follow the same like things.
Cause girl, they did have the whole entire like we had that up until maybe what I think we had that whole entire rule of where like you couldn't go to prom, you couldn't go to the movie theater. If you dated it, you had to go with somebody like somebody had to be with you while you were dating somebody. That rule, the dating rule changed after I think the pastor's daughter graduated, but the prom rule, girl, that did not change until I went to prom. I was the
Mm,
first one that went to prom. Like, well, not the first one. I think we had like a couple of kids, like, they kind of like snuck around it and went to prom, but it really wasn't talked about until like I went to prom. Like, well, ring dance, which what we had at our school. We had ring dance first, and then it was prom. So, like, we had a whole entire thing. If you did one of those, like, if you went to prom, went to did this and a third, then you had to do, or then you were off the choir or something like that. Like, you couldn't
mm,
be on something if you did this. It's like your
yeah,
punishment. But girl, half 9 times out of 10, them kids ain't want to be up there anyways. Okay, so
right,
like, I don't know if it was a punishment or if it was like a thank you. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it. There should have been the
yeah,
punishment should have been is that you sitting on the choir stand that you're leading a song on that Sunday. Okay, but I digress.
yeah.
Go ahead with your story.
Like yeah, so like my mom grew up in that more traditional time, like with those. But you see, you gotta think about it though. My mama grew up in the like 80s and the 90s, so that's how people were doing stuff
Hmm.
then.
Yeah,
And
that's why I think a lot of churches held on to it. Like my church held
yeah,
on to it. They didn't
and
know no better. Well, they knew
so
well.
like I said, like my mama, like the whole skirts thing.
Girl.
Um, My mom, see, my grandma got into church not later in life, but like
Uh-huh.
when my mom and them was like, my mom was the oldest, so when they were like kids,
Okay.
um, like I don't know how old my mom was when they started really going like for real, like really deep into it. But my grandma made
Uh-huh.
like them wear skirts and stuff like all the
Uh-huh.
time. So for a long time, my mama did not wear to wear dresses or skirts or
Uh,
anything.
Girl, could
But
you blame her?
my mama never like. That's the thing. My mama personally never made me like do wear the whole skirt stay like
Uh-huh.
outside of church. Like I wore
Girl,
skirts and
yes.
stuff to church.
To
Outside of
church and
church,
not
no.
in a skirt. Girl, we had to wear them jean long skirts all the way down to you. Did you wear them?
No. I ain't
Girl,
never
that's
worn no
our
jeans or nothing to my
our
school.
church. Girl, our church was a very much like you're wearing a skirt that had to pass your knee. Okay, I don't know how in the world we qualified as Pentecostal because listening to what you say is the exact same thing we did. Okay, I don't
That's
know.
why I said everybody just people just
It
put
was
labels on stuff, I
it was
think,
just like
honestly.
that's honestly why we went with non-denominational because we kind of like took all those rules away and we wanted to try to like to adapt to like the changing like the area that was changing with like around us because I want to say we weren't the only black church. We had a couple, there's a few other ones, but like we were like one of the bigger black churches. So we are like, you know what? Hey, we need to attract a bigger audience. You know, trying to get people to come in, like seeing people like, you know, come as you are. That was our whole entire thing. So we were trying to move to non-denominational, but at the same time, we were still looking nice, dressing nice. Now, I started going to church when I was young. I remember very vividly going to my mom's church, which was a Baptist church, and girl, I was up on the choir stand singing. Okay, that's the first memory I have. I was singing. I was all of like 3. I remember going to practice. I was like, why am I up here? I didn't know what I was doing. My uncles and aunts came to see me sing. They were like, you refuse to sing without your mom. I was like, yeah, because what am I doing? Then we
Um
girl, just imagine it was like one of those. It was a Baptist church and it was really, really tiny. So like we were all in like packed in there, shoulder to shoulder, one of those type of
mhm.
movements. And then I remember going to my other grandma's church, and kind of the same thing. Hers was just a little bit bigger though, but I wasn't on the choir stand. Girl, I just remember when we went there, my sister was like newborn, and girl, I was the angel in the Christmas play. Girl, I took that role
Oh.
so serious. They were like, "You can announce your role." I was like, "I'm the angel." The angel. I'm the girl. I kept grabbing that mic and saying that. That's all I remember. I'm the angel. The angel. That's all I remember. I don't remember nothing else.
Oh
But
my
I remember
god.
telling everybody I was an angel. Then I remember the first time we actually went to like the church I grew up in. It was just like this. It was so many kids around because like going to older churches, you don't really see kids. Like my
Mhm.
mom's church that she had, there was like I think I was the youngest and I was all of like 4 and everybody else was like 12. Okay, going to
Mhm.
my other grandma's church, I was 4, everybody else was 60. Okay, so they were trying to go to a
Not
church.
60.
Yes, girl, it was one of those like you bring your grandkids back to the church. Like this is so and so. This is my
Mhm.
granddaughter. You know, it's one of those churches. So like we found that they found a church where we could grow and you know do pretty good. We had a really big outreach ministry. So like we had how many? I don't know. We did so much outreach. Like we would service the whole entire town that we were in. We would bus a lot of kids who were out there. We had buses, girl. We were we were a
Y'all grew up.
pretty yeah, we had a pretty large church. Like we
Mhm.
literally like every summer we would bus kids from like um 3 different areas and bring them in. We would bus them in from honestly everywhere. We just had buses going to get kids, bringing them back to church just so they could hear the word, all that stuff. But you know, now that was the experience of it. I can say that our church has changed a lot. We're now in a new pastor. Our pastor did not wear a robe. Our pastor actually got asked to become a bishop, but he actually just said he didn't want to become one. That wasn't one of the things he wanted. So he's
Mhm.
not a bishop. But he was like right there. He literally like they literally asked him. He was like right there at it, but he just said, "Nah, I'm okay." He just did not. He didn't want the title.
Mhm.
Um, what else? Oh, I guess you can call me like a PK kid because secondly, my father is a pastor. Um, so it's a little weird, but he didn't get that title until until recently. Like 3 years ago. So it's it's one of those weird things. I don't know. It's just
Us, like I said, like they had all those traditional rules and stuff, but we didn't
hmm
follow them.
yeah,
Like
because it's kind of
me
like by
personally
the
didn't
time
follow them.
yeah, I feel like by the time we got like our age group got there, it was kind of like all right, either you gonna keep them same rules
No,
or it's
I
just you're not gonna
know
see
they
a
kept the rules.
they
It was
did
a parental discretion of
uh-huh
what like. But you got to think about it. When I was born, my mom was 21, going on 22.
uh-huh
So like she was fairly young too also, so
uh-huh
just think about you growing up in a super traditional church and now you're out that church and you gonna do what you want. Like I said, we
yeah
still grew up like when we were there, whatever like the rules were and like the respect stuff, we were there, but she never made us
yeah
like wear skirts. And like I went to prom, I went to the movies my whole life,
uh-huh
like all those things and how she grew
I
up.
never understood the whole entire you couldn't go to the movie thing. But like I felt like it was just like what could happen at the movie theaters or what you could see on the screen. I'm like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, come
Yeah.
on now. Let kids be kids like that.
Yeah. But
Hey,
yeah, that's kind of like my story in a nutshell, pretty much.
hmm
Just so give us some more of your story. You kind of gave us some of it, but fill in the
girl,
gaps.
which gaps did I miss? I feel like I don't know. I don't know. It's just we had a very. I'll say we had a very. We did. I'll say back in the day we had. I won't even say before COVID hit. We had. We went to church on Wednesday nights. Every summer we had like a vacation Bible school, but we had it like for the whole entire summer. So like it wouldn't be just like 1 month we did something. We would pick like every Wednesday out of the month we would take the kids to go to a swimming pool, um, or we would go to a park and had the kids play. Like we literally had like a whole legit list of what we did with stuff. We just taking kids to experience stuff. And we did that all until I was in high school, college. We had an after school program where we bused the kids from elementary school who couldn't like who didn't have rides home or stuff and or the parents still working and they did homework with them at the school, I mean at the church. Um girl, whatever our community needed, we were one of those we were expected to pop up and lead. But I can say like since our pastor that pastor has stepped down. A lot of that has been kind of I wouldn't say it's been cut because we're trying to get it back up there. I still do go to the same church. Um I will say that is a difficult thing. I personally think it's a little difficult because like you grew up in the church and it's kind of constantly changing and I'm kind of like should I find a new church? Do I want to find a new church?
I
I'm
think
kind
it's
of
healthy.
comfortable.
I think it's
Yeah.
healthy, and for growth, I would think that it's better to venture outside of the church that you grew up in,
Yeah.
because you would be surprised. Like I would say my cutoff of like going to my home church
Mhm.
was when we graduated college, because when we were in college I was still kind of at home. Not really though, because
Yeah.
we personally lived pretty much full time at our college, so we had an
Mhm.
apartment. So like breaks and stuff, we would go home, but we would come back. And I worked at school one summer,
Uh-huh.
so when I was whenever I went to church, obviously I went to that church. But once I like graduated and moved away,
Uh-huh.
clearly I couldn't go to the same church because I moved away.
Girl,
But
I remember
even if I was at the same place, I probably would have went
Girl,
personally.
do you remember us going when we went to Bradford? We were trying to find a church. Yeah, we tried to find a church. We
Y'all,
did.
we went to a
Our parents
Kojic
were so
church for the first
our
time.
parents were so proud of us. They were like, "Y'all found a church." We went all of 2 times
Yeah,
and
yeah.
did not go
Even it was
back.
Kojic. We not Kojic, so
It
like
was
we said,
something
the
new.
dominant the I can't say the word.
Da-da-da.
The
Girl.
denominations are
So,
they really are similar in a whole lot of ways, but Kojic is a
it's
little bit
something
different than
different.
what we grew up. So that was just an interesting that.
Yeah,
But we went like a couple of times. It was not
we
close to
did.
school at all.
It really wasn't. It was like a good 10-minute
10,
drive.
15. Yeah. So yeah. I would say it's all. I feel like it's healthy to venture
Yeah.
out. Not only just because sometimes you have to kind of remove yourself from what you grew up and how you are because you would be surprised in how many people think a lot differently than you on certain things, and it
Uh
opens
huh.
your eyes to a lot of things because the church that we go to now, it opened my eyes on so much stuff, and I was like, wow, wow. But we'll talk about that in a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. But yeah, so I guess those are kind of like our stories. You know, it's a very
Yeah.
short synopsis. I mean, we grew up in church. We 26 now, so that's a lot of years.
I'm 25.
You're literally gonna be 26 soon.
You're 26. You're gonna be 26 over
No,
me.
we're both 26,
Mm.
so we're 25. We're
Mm-hmm.
26. Anyway, we're not gonna have this argument today. We're not. So,
Mm.
what are some things that you liked about growing up in church?
There's some things I liked. I think I found. Well, I don't talk to them no more. I was gonna say I found some friends, but girl, I don't talk
I
to
mean,
them
they
no
were
more.
your friends at the time, so
They
you
were.
can
I
say,
mean, they were like your church friend. Like I did like the whole entire dynamic of like I lived one place and then we went to church in like another town. So like I didn't have the people I went to school with being like my church and school friends. Like I had a
right,
separation, and there really wasn't like a oh well you act like this in school. You don't know, you don't see me at school, okay? Like I
yeah,
would say, and I did like I like the fact that I had friends. I could find friends, and I do like the fact that like I had a lot of opportunity to like um volunteer, and then I think that's kind of like where I kind of get my drive to help children, and like especially children who are like underserviced or don't have the proper needs. Like that's where I think I got my start with like helping children who are underprivileged. So
hmm,
that's one of my big things. I think literally that gave me like the jump start to know like where my area to focus in on, because like y'all, some people don't like working with kids who are inner city or like stuff like that, but like really
hmm,
that's like the kids like from our church, that's where we service those children that come from areas like that may not have a mom and a dad, they're living with their grandparents, they don't have a warm meal to go to. That's where I learned my first bit of everybody
hmm,
ain't living like you living. So that's where I do find my appreciation you know
yeah.
but what about you? What you like about your church?
For me, what I liked about growing up in church, definitely one of my church friends. Mm. But I did go to the church with a lot of like half the church was related to me
Mm,
because
big.
a lot of my family went to the same church. Like not like a ton, not like
Uh-huh.
80,000. We ain't first of all we ain't got that many. We ain't had that many members, but a lot
8,000.
of people, a lot of people like were related to me in a sense. I mean, not in a
Uh-huh.
sense. They literally were. But I liked church friends and I liked like vacation Bible school, even though I hated going. I liked it about the last day. You know how like you hate something
But
and
then
you don't
like the
want to
but
go
come
to
the last
something,
day, girl,
but
come
then
the last day, it's like the best day. It's like, oh, like
and
this
you
is
don't want to
fun.
stop. You want to keep coming. That's how I
Like
was.
I
So
want to
I
keep
like
learning. Girl, I remember the
right.
one time we went to my grandma's church and we had to learn the fruit of the spirit. And girl, I knew
Mhm.
them all, and I did it first, and I said all the stuff, and I was like, oh, girl, I won the little goodie bag they gave everybody. See,
Mhm.
vacation Bible school is fun.
It was. It was fun. I didn't go every single year though. Like I said,
Uh,
my mom was in and out the church sometimes, so sometimes we wasn't really in church heavy like that.
girl,
And then other times, and then
you
most of
gonna
the time,
laugh.
we
You
went
gonna
to vacation
laugh.
Bible school because we was with my grandma over the summer. So,
Uh-huh. Girl, you will laugh. Okay. So I did vacation Bible school at my church because we had something every Wednesday. Well, this is when I was younger, like maybe like under 10. Then I had to go to my grandma's. And because I went to my grandma's, I had to go to my Mimi's. Okay. So I went to 3 vacation Bible schools. Mind you, they'd be like, oh, like our town was so small that we would be like, "Oh, did you go to this church? Did you go to that church?" We would be outside talking about what we learned at other people's churches and all this stuff. It was so much stuff that we did in those 3 weeks. Like literally, like one church would have vacation Bible school, The next church will have vacation Bible school. The church down the street will be having vacation Bible school. They try to keep you busy literally every single day so that, you know, you could say that you learned about Jesus throughout the summer. You ain't gonna say you ain't learned about nothing. You learned about Jesus, okay?
Right.
That's what she was
Right.
doing.
Right. So yeah, I would say the friends, and then looking back now, I like the structure that growing up in church gave me.
Yeah.
Like I learned some things definitely in church, and like how I just carry myself as a person, just in general, from my time growing up in church. So I can appreciate that part. I mean, I like the structure because I'm a person, I like a routine anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So
creature of
having to
habit.
get up every single day, like
Mm-hmm.
not oh Lord, not every
It's Sunday. I was like, every day you go to church every day. Amen. Amen.
every Wednesday and Sunday, like it was it was
Yeah.
constant, like up until
You
I
knew what to expect.
graduated. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like girl, I used to literally when I used to play soccer senior year, I used to
Mm-hmm.
go to school,
Mm-hmm.
go to soccer practice. I would rush home after soccer practice, jump in the shower, put all of my book. I had a little church bag, my church bag for Wednesday night service,
Okay.
or something. I'll take my book bag, and I would literally be doing my homework while we're
Girl,
at Wednesday night service.
now tell me this one thing. I need to know. Did y'all have watch night service on New
Yeah,
Year's Eve?
they still do that to this day.
Girl, this year was our first year that we didn't do it. We didn't do it in COVID, but we did it every other time. And when I tell y'all, that was like the most tiredest thing of my whole entire life. I remember one year we did it, and I think like the next day we had school. Mind you, all the kids were in the back sleep by the time 12 a.m. rolled around. We was back there sleep. I don't know. I think there was a football game on one night too, one time too. I don't know, y'all. It was just crazy. Like, why in the world we had kids up, kids crying, everybody like half sleep. Now, it's just something like a lot of churches don't do watch night service. I don't know why I call it midnight, but it's watch night service, y'all. Y'all probably had this. But it was just us praising the Lord until 12 a.m. We prayed going into the new year. We sung a song. It literally the whole entire build up was to be together and to be in the church until we made it over into the new year. And we did that. I feel like one year they actually messed up. We messed up the countdown. So like it had turned 12 o'clock and our pastor was preaching. And everybody's like, oh, whoa, it's 12 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock. We had to do our own countdown and started back over from 10 while we was up there singing and praising. But still, mind y'all, that's just one of the crazy, crazy things about going to church. I think there's other things that definitely stood out to me. But, I don't know. I don't know. What was your
For
watch night experience like?
for us, we would like get there at like church would start like 10 o'clock,
Yes, girl.
and
Why did we
we
start church so early?
and we
I think we
used
did.
to.
Did y'all do a meal? Girl, we one watch night
Oh,
we had spaghetti for dinner, dessert. We stayed there from 7 o'clock until 12 a.m.
Lord, I
Why
think we
did we
might
do
have had. I think we might have had like a snack or something one year,
that? uh
but yeah, and we used to get there like 10. Like churches are at 10 o'clock, and like one year,
huh.
for most of the years, like the pastor would just preach or whatever. But then
Hmm.
we started doing this thing where like one year we had like 4 or 5 people speak in the church, and everybody was speaking on the fruit to the spirit.
Let me tell you one thing. If I didn't learn anything this year, I thought it was fruits with an S because it's multiple fruit. Girl, this one lady got so mad at us because we were pronouncing wrong. She's like, "It is fruit of the spirit. In the scripture, it says fruit." I said, "Okay, calm down. All right,
Right.
calm it down."
Right.
But.
So yeah, we did like that one year, and then we never went over like people preaching and stuff. They
Uh-huh.
was like keeping the lookout, but we would pray like the last 10 or
The
15
10
minutes
seconds.
and pray into the new
Uh-huh.
year. And
Yep.
not seconds, child, minutes.
Girl, we
They
would
pray
be
for like the
like
last 5, 10. It just depend on the year.
the time. Yeah.
But I
Cause
ain't been
girl,
to
some
watch night service since 20.
I feel like you invited me. No, you were supposed to invite me for a year, but you forgot. Or was that the year we might have had at the same time? That was the last time you went, matter of fact.
No. I believe it was 2018.
Was it the year before we graduated? I think it was the year before we graduated. Well, no, going into that year. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it might have been 2018 that I went to like a true watch night service.
Cause
Um,
I remember that you invited me, but I told you I couldn't come because we were going to watch night.
hmm
I don't know.
It was something. But yeah, that's kind of like what I liked about growing up in church, like the structure that it gave me,
And
and
I do like I don't know if you gonna add it, but I feel like um the experience that we're able to be like, yeah, girl, that happened to me. I like like that whole entire that thing about it,
hmm
like being able to connect with somebody, being like, oh, did your church do this? Did your church do that? Oh
yeah,
no, girl,
that's
mine did. You know.
right. I think that's one layer of friendship that we always have shared. Also, because
Mhm.
since we grew up in church, like we know what it is. Like we
Mhm.
know, when we go home
Yep.
on breaks and stuff. We're going to church on Sunday.
Yep.
Like we share that common thing, and I know there's some people out there that can understand what it's like growing up in church, especially like with your
Yeah.
grandma. Like for us,
Somebody.
it was. I mean, my mama went to church too. Like I said, she was off and on, and she gonna be like,
Mhm.
she gonna kill me for saying all this,
Uh,
but she was off and on, and that's not nothing to be ashamed of. She was trying to get her life right with the Lord. That's all right. But my
embarrassing.
grandma has been consistently in the church my entire life, so
Mhm.
my grandma still to this day.
Girl, my grandma
Um,
is a faithful usher. That lady is
girl,
a faithful usher.
yes, girl. My grandma is the assistant pastor child. So,
Lord,
and
see.
my grandma has been preaching since I was like 2 years old. So basically my whole life
Mhm.
too. So that's kind of another layer. But like I said, even though my family is like that, like in the church and stuff, a lot of the stuff, like my mama did not have no crazy rules for us to follow. Like it was nothing like that. So I
Mhm.
didn't grow up like that. I know a lot of people did, but another thing I would like about church is like, along with going with like the friends, I like all the memories. Like I can sit here
Mhm.
and say all the memories. Like I don't know if y'all church did this, but like at Christmas time, one of the deacons he makes these brown paper bags every year
Girl,
that got
tell
the
me why
fruit
that's
in
my
it.
job now. That's my job of
Girl,
making all them bags.
with the fruit, it'd be an apple or orange. It'd be
Yep, you
some
get apple orange,
peppermints,
some peppermints, and like a little
a
some
little candy.
candy.
And then
Yep.
one year, girl, he got spicy one year. He put Capri Suns in there for the kids.
Woo, okay.
I said, all right now. So that is like a memory I'm always gonna like hold
Uh
on
huh.
to, and I know when I go to church ever, that one, they still do that
Yeah.
to this day. So
To this
that's like a
day,
core memory. Did you have like a church crush or somebody in church that you liked, or
girl, we
like,
not gonna talk about that.
girl,
We not
I
gonna
am,
talk about that.
I am because I did have one, and
We not gonna talk about that.
y'all, this is so cliche, like what I'm finna say. Cause I ain't got no shame in my game, hun. Everybody know who I used to talk to. I know who I used to talk to. Is no shame in nothing. I know, and I'm not hiding nothing from nobody. I ain't gonna say no names,
Mhm.
obviously, but if they
Uh
were
huh.
to ever see this, they would know.
Uh huh.
So I ended up. This was I was. Ooh, I was like, it was before. No, I'm trying. Y'all, I'm trying to calculate my
I
boyfriend
see.
timeline.
Oh
Cause
my
it's
gosh.
I know I can tell y'all everybody that I ever talked to since elementary school.
Oh
I ain't
my
gonna lie
gosh.
to you in order too. But yeah, so I think I was in like 11th grade maybe,
Uh huh.
and I started talking to this boy at church,
Mhm.
girl, and he was a drummer.
Oh, why is it always the drummer boys?
It's always the
It's
drummers.
always the drummer voice.
It's always the drummers. I don't know, but he was a drummer,
Uh huh.
and I don't even know how we even started talking for real. But like,
Mhm.
our families end up finding out, obviously,
Mhm.
which. Oh God, it used
Girl.
to be so funny, girl. It used to be the most weirdest, craziest relationship I've ever been in my life because we only would talk. We would talk outside of church. But we would only see each other like at church.
Uh huh.
We was. I wouldn't even say that's like a. We weren't in like a real relationship. But we was
Uh
talking
huh.
here and there. And he had bought me like Christmas, no birthday gifts and stuff. He was very nice. He was
Period.
very nice to me. But I believe that is the only church like situationship
Uh huh.
I have. Definitely a core memory of mine because we had went somewhere. I told y'all my parents and my mom is not like that. So we went somewhere. We was on the church bus.
Oh
Cause my church
Lord.
ended up being buses, and we was sitting next to each other. We wasn't like in the back end. The bus was small, but we was we was sitting next to each other.
Uh huh. Oh.
But
Oh
yeah,
my
that
gosh.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
What would you doing? What would you doing on the church bus?
We were doing that on the church bus, child. I would
Uh
never.
huh. Uh.
I would have. That's to the extent I'm gonna tell y'all about that
Mhm.
one. But that is the only church
Yeah, I
thing
cannot.
I've
I
ever
can.
been in.
I cannot get into my church garage. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Girl, to this day, I still don't even know. And you know what was crazy? After I stopped talking to him, that's when I started talking to old dude
Uh oh.
that you know. So
Uh oh.
yeah, girl,
But
it
but
was a
but
good time.
you know who I'm talking about. That's why I can't get on that topic.
Yeah.
That's very
So
much it's a closed
yeah,
case situation.
and you right though. It's always the drummers. What
It's
is
always the
that?
drummers. Like, why is it
That's
always
crazy.
them?
But
Why is it
since
always
we
them?
talked about some things that we liked about growing up in church, what
Because
are
I'm
some
just
things that you
like,
did not like?
I will say I did not like church gossip, girl, because we had that in the church, and I feel like it didn't help. It helped nothing. It achieved nothing in our church. Um, we particularly had just like one lady who did it, and she was like, she honestly saw nothing wrong in what she was doing. She didn't realize that she created this huge divide. She didn't realize that
Mm-hmm.
that's why kind of like none of the younger kids would like talk to her, because she would create drama, or she would look at you kind of funny when you would do something that wasn't what she aligned, like what she thought what you should be doing. She had all that going on. See, I'll tell you, church drama does exist, and don't think that. I will say that some people are like, "Oh, I experienced this, and I'll never go back to church." Don't let that be
Mm-hmm.
your all, okay? Because
Yeah.
I mean,
But people,
people,
church hurt is real, and
is
a lot
real.
of people, especially my in my age bracket,
Mhm.
personally, I know a lot of people that I grew up with in church, don't really go to that church anymore or go to church
Uh
at
huh.
all. Period, because of just,
Yes,
I
girl.
mean, just personal things, stuff that they
Yes, cause
experience, and I
girl,
mean, I
like,
get it, I get it.
yeah, like for example, like I am literally only because I live in the same area. I live in that exact like I don't live in the exact area, but like I live. Actually, we all live in the same area. I'm not gonna hold you. But like I live in this area and I'm like, okay, I'll just go ahead and go back to church. The people who I grew up with, they have not went back to church since. Okay, since they've graduated, since their parents have forced them, not even forced them, since their parents have told them, like you had to go to church, they haven't been back to church. I have been back to church multiple times. Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
would say I am me and my sister and maybe like a few other kids are of like the rare breed of the ones who return to church.
I I don't know. It's a lot of things. That's not a lot of things I didn't like.
Mm,
Um, I mean, I guess at the time when I was going, I didn't like that we had to go to church so much at the,
Girl, yeah.
at
I'd
the
be like, dang.
time.
Because I'd be like, can I just stay here one Sunday, y'all? Like,
Right. But
can I get one Sunday off?
mm, I guess I just didn't like some of the um outlooks that the church I went to had on certain things.
Uh huh.
Um and it wasn't really so much when I was young, because when you young, like kid, you ain't thinking
You
about
don't
none of that
notice.
stuff. But when you get to like high school and you start to notice stuff and see stuff and wondering why your church can't do certain stuff like this other church up the street,
Yeah.
and try like you. So I think that's
Yeah.
the only thing I would say that I did not like, at times. That's why I said it's important for you to venture out of your home church if you want to, and
Yeah.
if you
You feel comfortable with
can,
it.
because it will show you so much more and open you up to a whole different perspective that you never had on church before, which I think is definitely important, especially in everything that you
Mm
do. So yeah, that was the only thing I would say I did not like. Everything else was kind of, that's all I knew.
hmm.
So,
Mm
and I mean, I appreciate the time I grew up in church and how I was raised and stuff. Like I
hmm.
said, it
Mm
made me the person I am today. But yeah, but so how huge of an impact? Emphasis on huge.
hmm. Mm hmm.
How huge of an impact has growing up had on your adult life and how you are with, just you're just you in general. Like how did growing up in church affect your personality and how you are and your values and your morals and stuff like that? Or do you need time to think?
I,
Because
I
it's
find
a heavy
you.
question.
It is. That's a very big. I like I said before. I'll kind of wrap it back up to like my story and kind of like the things I like with church. Like I think I found purpose. Like I found like where I was comfortable with. Like I told y'all, like my church service, a lot of people like who were in need. So like I think that really impacted like where I was like overall, and like I think a lot of people when I was in college, um, when I had to like do an internship, they were like, "Wow, like kids, you really look at kids who are underprivileged and don't get a lot of time. Like you look at them as like your own." I'm like, yeah, like that's how I was raised. That's kind of how the church raised me. They made me look at people like, we're all on the same playing field. We just need a little bit of help. Some of us just need some help. So I think that's one of the big impacts of church that church had on me. It's just like looking at the other person and knowing that they need help and like seeing how I can help them get to where they need to get to. That's one of the things that I definitely definitely
Mm.
had a big impact on me. What about you?
For me, I would say, just in general, like it just affected like who I am in different aspects. So I would give the people this scripture, okay?
Preach, preacher.
Let me see if I can get it right though.
All right. Hold on. Tell me
Okay.
what is it? I'll read it back to
Um,
you.
it said, "Train up a child in the
Oh,
way
in the
they
way
should
that he
go,
should go.
and may they never depart from it." Yes,
Yes.
roughly.
No, far from their learners or something like that. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Train up a
So
child.
I would say that like growing up in church did instill a lot of that, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my key
Yeah.
values in me, like how to treat people, how I am, and then my relationship with God also
Mm-hmm.
obviously has to do with how I was raised, like getting
Yeah.
to know what Jesus is like, and that part. I would
Yeah.
say,
Yes. Uh huh. Ooh.
um, no, I have a whole different thought process than how I grew up though.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Christianity and God, and all that stuff. Well, we'll get into that in a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say it just impacted who I was, and it's an experience that I always take with me wherever I am, obviously, because I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like I said, yeah, that scripture kind of sums it up. Like it just has a heavy effect on my decision making,
Mm-hmm.
my thought process behind things, how I carry myself as
Mm-hmm.
an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know the Bible, I know what the Bible say,
Mm-hmm.
and all that.
Mm-hmm. Girl, may not
So
concur them word for word, but I know around. But they
I
talking
can't
about
quote it from word, but I
word for
can
word.
give you a summary,
Yes, I
a
can give you a
short
if
synopsis.
you start me off with the scripture, I can finish it for you. How about that?
I can give you some words. The words I said they hit
Yes.
me, and I know that
That,
for sure.
yeah, you said train up a child for the way he should go, that he will not depart from it. So yeah,
Period. Mama gonna be proud of me. My grandma gonna be proud of me.
look at you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I would say it's impacted like
Mhm.
me and my personal life.
Mhm.
Um, but thinking about how we grew up in your individual experience and how it impacted you and all that, do
Mhm.
you think that you will bring up your children the same way,
I mean,
in the
from
same
my
format?
experience, like from my experience to their experience,
Like
like what I
how
experienced to them.
how you grew up in church. So like the structure
Oh,
of which you
okay.
grew up in church,
I
how
would
you went to
say
church, like that.
okay, yeah, because I mean, I went to church every Sunday. We had a lot of youth group opportunities. I would say back then, like when I was a kid, yes, because like we had a lot of opportunities for growth. So yeah, I definitely would. Are there some things I would change? Yes, but that was from the part that we were at the time when I was younger. We
Mhm.
were a growing church, so like we were still trying to like figure out where we fit in. We were trying to do like all this, with outreach. I will say, if I find a church, when I find a church when I have kids, um, to raise my kids in, I will want a church that does a little bit more in reach. I would say that's kind of one of my
Mhm.
things, that like with our church we did so much outreach and we forgot to do in reach with the kids. So that's kind of why like you don't see a lot of like kids who were in our church come back, because we did so
Mhm.
much outreach and make sure they were okay. They kind of forgot about the kids that are in house, you know.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. I think when I get older, I will look for my family's sake, I'll look for a church that is able to service us in all areas, you know.
Mhm. For
Yes.
me,
Yes, because you got a kid.
I will say I probably will not raise my children and my current child the same exact way. Um, for a whole bunch of different reasons, but definitely we're gonna do the church thing.
Not the church
Definitely.
thing.
We're gonna do the church thing, but me, like, this is gonna kind of lead into our next question of like how we view church and Christianity today, because it
Mhm.
didn't take me until I went to college. When I went to college, that's when I was like kind of on my own and figuring
Mhm.
out who I was and who I was and what relationship I had with God. So
Mhm.
for me, I don't feel like going to church every single Sunday, going to church every single Wednesday, being a part of every church program and stuff is what's gonna get you to heaven. Because the way my church kind of, in my view,
Mhm.
the way that I feel like my church was kind of set up in a certain way. Like I said, we were very traditional, so it's like you go to
Mhm.
church these days of the week. You do this, and
Mhm.
this. And if anybody know me personally, I am very much not a traditional person in any aspect of my life. The only thing that's traditional you would say about me is I got married and I had a baby. That's it.
Mhm.
Everything else about me is the opposite. I'm a free spirit. I'm a free thinker, and not like over the edge, like extreme. But I just think that
Mhm.
certain things are just is not what's gonna get you there. Like wearing a skirt down to your ankle down. That's not what's gonna determine if you go to heaven or not. So I would definitely raise my child and my children in a different way than I was raised, but definitely like raise them in the church, but not like how I was. And I'm not gonna put emphasis on certain things like that was put on me.
Mhm.
But that also goes to what type of church you go to.
Mhm. Because I feel
So
like our church definitely got out of all that stuff. So like we were
see,
kind of, and it sounds like y'all's didn't. Y'all still kind of hold on to it a little bit. We gotta.
well, I can't speak on it 100%. Like I said, I haven't
Uh
been to
huh.
the church in some years.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying like my formative years, like my,
You're growing. Yeah.
my growing up stage, I figured
Yeah.
out a lot about myself, so I know what I want in a church
Mm-hmm.
and what I don't want in a church. And currently, the
Mm-hmm.
church that we go to, which we go online now because of COVID-19 when she came through.
Kovisha. Okay.
Y'all know churches was not going in, and a lot of churches didn't
Mm-hmm.
start going back until last year
Girl,
sometime.
we still wear masks up in our church. Okay.
Yeah, so, and if y'all want to know what church I go to and attend, it's Elevation Church, and you have your own opinion on what you think about whatever you think about. This my opinion, and this what I say and what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And going there was definitely an eye opener for me. Different, way different experience, way different everything. And not to say one or the other is better,
Uh-huh.
but for me, where I attend and what I do now is what works for me and what's better for me, and that's kind of what I want to raise my kids up under.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma said, as long as the church is teaching the Bible and teaching it right,
Mm-hmm.
like this Elevation is one of those non-denominational churches that
Mm-hmm.
you people are wearing jeans, people are wearing whatever they
Yeah.
want. Like it's
It's
not
a
the
come as you. It's a
traditional.
come as you are type.
It's a
We
very
accept
much
you.
they
You
very
know.
much come as you are. Like they have like children's churches and like different age
Yeah.
levels. They have like a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that aspect for me, and they have like their little Bible studies and stuff like that as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would not raise my child the exact same way that I grew up, because I feel like that only will the exact way that I grew up only worked for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I have to raise my child or children like in a way that I feel like works for them and what I think they would get out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely raise them in church, but definitely not the same way how I was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of the person that preaches make sure you have a relationship with the Lord
Mm-hmm.
and not just like a, I don't know what you call it, like a,
Yeah. Sometimes.
like, no, people putting emphasis on the like, you know how some people say they're more spiritual than religious.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that's a controversial topic because for some people, because some people think that you're saying one thing, but what I perceive it to be is people say they're more spiritual than religious. A lot of people do not like the religious norms and the religious things that
Yeah.
churches put on
Because
people
they're
that
saying,
they're not in the Bible,
yeah, people are saying
you
that
know?
religion is just like it's a checkbox type thing.
Mhm.
Like they're saying church is not. People are trying to say, "Oh, I can't stay in church." Okay, that's church. That's not necessarily God. Even though
Yeah,
church,
like
but
people like
people,
yeah.
you know,
I think
y'all
like
gotta do some. I feel like who talked on it. I want to say, Lecrae might have spoke on it.
that's I girl, you read my mind.
I
You read my mind because
was like,
I
yeah,
seen
he,
his Instagram post and he was
yep,
talking about deconstructing
yes, church.
Christianity or religion
Yes.
or church or
Yes,
something like
something
that.
something like that saying that there's church hurt and it didn't come from God, it came from the people in the church.
Mhm.
And
Cuz a
even
lot
though like if people are saying yes the church is a temple of God, it's the body of God, but at the same time, those four walls, okay? People inside of those walls hurt you, not the church, not the building. The building did not hurt you.
mhm.
It's the people inside of the building that hurt you. They ain't got nothing to do with God or Jesus himself. It's the people
Yeah.
inside those walls. And maybe it's like if you're hearing this and you're like, you know what, maybe I need to rethink my relationship. Let me throw that out there. That you need to rethink your relationship. I would just say find a new church. Find something that works for you.
Mhm.
If you don't like going in a big crowd, they got online churches. If you don't
Mhm.
like going to church on Sunday, or like you feel like you ain't got time on Sunday, they got YouTube. Sarah Jake Roberts is a great person to listen to.
Yes, I love her takes.
Girl,
Like
I'll
some
be
people
writing
say
some
that
notes on that
church,
girl.
how some people say church is just not the building, but church is
Yes,
in you. So
it's
I
in
feel
you.
like
You're supposed to.
whatever works for you personally in your situation. But yeah, a lot of people are, deconstructing kind of like how they grew up, what they were told. Because if we want to be straight up honest here, A lot of people take the Bible and twist it, and on both sides really.
Mhm.
And a lot of people think that because a church does something like the I'm just gonna say this. A lot of churches make up things that are not in the
Mhm.
Bible, that don't have
Yep.
nothing in the Bible about, like, no nothing. And like when I was
Girl, I
little,
think.
one thing about me, when
Uh
we
huh.
did certain things in church, or like the skirts thing or anything like that, I would
Because
ask my
where
mama.
is
I
that
would
in
be
the
like,
Bible?
so where did it say that? Like, where, like, I be wanting to know
Like,
things for
where
my
did
own
it come
self.
from?
Like, where did it come
Yeah.
from? Why did it say that? And in a lot of places, a lot of churches will make you feel like,
You're
you
less
know,
than, or like.
less than or bad because you're not wearing
Mhm.
a skirt. And maybe you don't got, maybe everybody don't like to wear skirts now.
No.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to raise my children in a different environment because times are different.
Mhm.
Two, when you get the older you get, the more you learn about certain things, and certain things you decide that don't work for you or that change for you. Like, it kind of was like, nobody really
Mhm.
said this, but back in the day, if you wasn't going to church every Sunday, and then you was a part of the church, and you wasn't going to church every Sunday, and you wasn't going to Wednesday service, people would look at you funny and be like,
Mhm.
And
Girl, it'd
I
be
just,
like, where's she been? It'd be like, you only attend church. What is it? You only attend church for like the holidays and stuff like that.
mm-hmm,
Like, you have those judges. Like, don't, yeah, I understand. Like, there are older women out there, and like a lot of people out there who would judge you for like your walk with Christ, but
mm-hmm,
nobody really knows your walk. It's between you and God. And if you feel
right,
like sharing that with other people, then yes, you can share it. I will
yeah,
say that if y'all get a chance, you should check out the what's it called? The B Simone podcast. What is it? I'll be sure. So what is it called?
no, for
I'll
sure.
know sure. There you go. Yep. I said
You
I'll
talking
be
about something?
sure.
It sounds like you said, "I'll be sure."
I sure did, didn't it? No, for sure. She just put up a little clip about her and her friend talking that her and what's the name? Is it Megan? Yeah,
Megan.
her and Megan talking. I thought it was so like, the clip was really good. She was talking about how like she wants to know the Lord for herself, because she said she said that if she's going through a hard time, she doesn't want to be like, oh, let me go grab my amethyst crystal. Did you see that TikTok? I mean, that
Yeah,
video?
yeah,
Girl, I said that is so true. Cause she's like, what am I going to yell out? Like, if I'm having like a hard time, like if something is going wrong, you yell out. Like, for Christian girls, Megan said she yelled out in the name of Jesus. And B
mm-hmm,
Simone was like, I didn't know what to say, even though I knew what to say. She's like, at that moment, I was like, wait a minute, I should be yelling out the same thing you yelling. Like, why am I not doing that? So I thought that was so interesting. She was like, I can't yell out, somebody find my crystal, because
mm-hmm.
what is it? Like, what's the crystal gonna do for you? you know, I thought it was
I
interesting.
just think it's just about your personal relationship. Like, I don't think there should be stipulations on what a cookie cutter Christian is supposed to look like. Because you know what's crazy? Speaking of our previous episode, we talked about the Grammys, and we talked about Maverick City performing with Quavo, but we was like, oh yeah, like that was like, a cool, touching performance, whatever. If you go on TikTok, it is so many people like dragging Maverick City down, like dragging them through
Mm-hmm.
the dirt, talking about that they're worldly and they're this and this and this. And I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, a lot of people, a lot of Christians, not people. This is
Mm-hmm.
specifically for the Christians out there.
Mm-hmm.
They like, in
Like,
their brain, they think things are supposed to be a certain, things are supposed to
exactly.
be this way, things are supposed to like this way, but you don't. I don't judge nobody. I
Because
don't
what?
put nothing on nobody because I
Because
don't know what type of relationship people have with Jesus. And then I don't like the
I
thing
just didn't.
nowadays when people think that everything is demonic.
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't understand that when they were like, "Oh, he should be performing him." I was like, "Did y'all hear the message?" The man was talking about Takeoff, who had just died. Like, there was nothing wrong with saying they can't
Right.
wait to see the man again. Like, dang.
And
Like,
I did see a clip where Quavo was like, "I miss smoking a blunt with you" or something like that, right? And
yeah.
this one TikTok just said something so interesting. I think it was a TikTok or a comment, and it was talking about how people, not people again, Christians
Hmm.
think that you're supposed to be isolated from the world. Now, you're
Yes,
not
that you're supposed
supposed
to
to
cut
be
off all communication.
right.
You
And
know,
and
like,
somebody was like, "No, that is literally the
mm-mm.
complete opposite. Like, you're
Yep,
supposed to go into, not be of the world. That's two different things.
yep.
Go into the world and touch those people." And somebody was like, You never know how Maverick City being at a Grammys and somebody seeing
And
them or somebody
yes,
seeing something, they would,
yes.
turn to whatever. But
Yeah,
see,
I mean, like, it's the same thing. Like somebody commented on Keith Lee's TikTok how he was like talking about God. Like, let me tell you how God works. We do this. Somebody commented and was like, since I watched your videos, like I want a relationship with God. Like it's the
right,
smallest thing. And Keith does not
exactly.
give. Keith does not be doing sermons. He don't do nothing. He just says, "Let me just tell you how the Lord works." So he'll tell you have a blessed day. Like let
Hmm.
me. He'll say like short little phrases. He's not giving a whole sermon. He's giving very
Right.
much a little snippet. Like it's
You
not
can
even
you can
you know
only tell people about God from your experience, but people have to experience stuff
for themselves.
themselves. Like that's what I say, like about the way my view on things have changed. Like as far of like
Mhm.
the religious standpoint, not the values of Christianity, not
Mhm.
the things that the Bible say, the religious things that are man made that people decide to just do one day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those types of things, I'm just like, no. And you don't realize a lot of the stuff until you get older and you like, what?
Yep.
Because you can, like, my grandma and be like, they say, like, when people get baptized and stuff,
Mhm.
you can go down a dry devil and come up a wet one.
Yep.
So you can be the person that goes to church every single day. I mean, maybe, not every day, but you know what I mean, like
Mhm.
every Sunday, every Wednesday, and you're doing all this, you doing this, and you at the house beating on your wife, or you messing with so and so husband, something like people pick and choose what they think is a sin
Yeah.
and
It's a
what they think
sin. Was
is acceptable and what they think is this. But the person that may not go to church as much as you do,
yeah.
a person that's out here spreading the word, the way Jesus
Yeah.
intended it.
Yep.
That's why. But yeah, it's been a lot of deconstructing, like the church or Christianity and all that stuff. But I mean, to each his own. Whatever y'all feel like y'all want to do. As for me, your relationship with God is the
As
most
for me
important
and God,
thing,
I'm gonna turn up.
no matter where you're at. And
Yeah.
everybody's relationship and walk looks different. Like some people will tell you that they got it all together with Christ, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
It's
Everybody
a
is a work in progress. All right. Like ain't
literally.
nobody saying
And we is not super Christians. I'm not gonna get up on here and lie and say I'm just the most saved person. I'm just saved and
exactly.
reborn, and because that's not. I'll be lying to y'all if I said that.
Exactly.
But I do know the way. I know Jesus for myself, and I'm
Mhm.
learning things for myself. I'm learning, God for myself in my own ways. I might not be the person that go to church every go
Every
physically into church
Sunday.
every Sunday, or go, to do this or do this or do that. Like, yeah, religion in Christianity is just a slippery slope, and it's a lot that goes on, and it's a lot of different types of Christians.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm not one of them people that's gonna sit and I don't judge nobody just in general. Anyway, that's not even me. But yeah, I just
Mhm.
think, that's how my view is. I appreciate where I grew up and how I grew up, because that was the way I was supposed to grow up. That was the way God intended for me to grow up. But now that I'm older, I get to choose things, how I want to do certain things, what I want to do, how my relationship with God is. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, child. But yeah, people was ripping Maverick City apart, like ripping them
They did
apart.
that a couple months ago, girl. They do. They find something new every single. And I hate to say it, it's like the super saved Christians. This is somebody commented on
Yes.
TikTok. They're like, I don't know what side of Christianity you are, but I'm not a super saved one.
Mm-mm.
Like, calm down,
Because I seen
please.
this guy earlier, and the lady stitched the video. He was like, "There's something demonic about Beyonce's Renaissance concert or something like that."
Mm.
And somebody was like, "She was like, okay, y'all just find everything to talk about. Y'all call everything up under the sun demonic. Now, do I think there is demonic things out there? Of course,
Mhm.
yes. Do
Mhm.
I think everything is demonic? No, no,
Girl,
no.
I will say, I don't know if you probably, I don't know if you watched them, but we had to watch these the Illuminati videos, like learning about it. Like there was one pastor who like preached like a whole He preached
Mm-mm.
4 sermons about it. Girl, we had to watch them. And when I tell you the stuff that this man brought up made absolutely no sense. Like he would be like, he would say that anything with a diamond pyramid on it, that was Illuminati. So like just stuff that had a simple diamond in the middle of it. Anybody who accepted a Grammy, they were Illuminati. Anybody any anybody, I think what he said the people who the shaving company, I'm your Venus, I'm your goddess, that was Illuminati, because why are you saying that you're a Venus, a goddess? Why are you saying that you're uh one of those other creatures? Like I was like, okay, sir. I mean, even listen to that, I was like, okay, now like some of the stuff, yeah, all right, I get it. This is a little creepy. I get it. But now everything he was saying, I said that don't make no sense.
Right. I feel like there's a line between people coming up with their own conspiracy theories and
Mm-hmm.
conspiracy theories, and people really like, like, but it's always going to be people that say every sort of thing about anything. Like, she was probably going to be people that listen to our podcast and say what we saying is wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
to each his own at the end of the day. We just telling y'all our experience, how we think about things, our view on
Mm-hmm.
church and Christianity and all that. So take that as you want to take it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, people do call everything demonic, and I'm just like, y'all, it's like a constant. It's like, do y'all get tired?
At what point do you get tired of saying that's demonic?
And then people dragging the mud, like dragging the internet. They call them internet pastors. I would
Mm-hmm.
say the non-denominational pastors, like the
The
millennial
ones, yep.
pastors, pretty
Was it
much.
Stephen Furlock? What's the man's name?
Furtick.
Yeah, my
You
bad.
said Furlock.
I thought it was Furlock. I don't know. That man. What's the other man's name?
I cannot.
Mike Toms.
No.
What's his name? Mike Todd.
Oh
Ain't it?
God. Yes. You talking about some Stephen Furlock and
Girl, my sister send me things of him every single day. Who else? She does those two. Why was I saying Kira Shear? Kira Shear. I'm looking at. We talked about Sarah Jake Roberts. She's one. Like they say, girl,
yeah.
they find anything to talk about
Yeah, like I
somebody.
said, like I do think that there is demonic things out there in the world, but I do not think every and anything is demonic. I don't think that everybody, and they call all I have seen all of those millennial pastors. I've seen at least one person call every one of them false prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we have some false prophets amongst us?
Yes.
Yes. Is every person with a platform a false prophet? No.
No. Mm-mm.
No. And I don't know. I think it's just to each his own. I think a lot of it is how you grew up, who you grew up with, who you grew up around. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was not my the way I was. I mean, like I said, I do know that there's demons out there, but my family, as for being in my house, every single thing was demonic. Like they would like going back to traditions. Like some churches would say, like going to the movies, like I said,
You
was
gonna listen to
demonic
something? Yeah, you were
because
gonna listen to something wrong,
like those things. It's like okay, but why? Like where did you come with that conclusion?
girl. And then you know what you missing? The big one. What they say is demonic.
What?
Joining for sororities and fraternities.
Oh, girl. I see. This is a hot take too, y'all. But this is my opinion, and I'm not afraid to share my opinions on how I feel about things. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying anything bad, but I saw a girl, and this is her. She denounced her organization
Mm-hmm.
because she felt like it was demonic and the things were demonic and stuff like that. And she was saying how she put her organization before the Lord. Now, and then I saw another one that was like these organizations claim that they are,
This and the
Christians,
third. Yep.
and they're not. Now, me and Lauren can speak on this because we're actually in organizations. We're a part of
Mm-hmm.
organizations, been a part of organizations. We know. So I don't care what I was in or what I'm a part of. Ain't nothing come before the Lord.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know
I don't
in
know
what
how
part. I want
people
to
are
say.
doing. I mean, I
I
can't
just
speak on
want to
everybody's
say,
experience. That's her truth. But
yeah,
I'm just like,
because some people are like,
no.
well, this happened, and I'm like, okay, so wait a minute, you let yourself get into a situation where you did that, like, like I just don't.
It's the praising things over the Lord for me.
Yeah, she was like,
No.
it was stuff that I did that I I put my I put this before the Lord, and all you other people who are in a sorority or fraternity need to know that you did this before the Lord. I'm like, I don't know. Now, do I believe that there are some women and men out there who worship their sorority or fraternity they're part of? Yes, you do have
Shoot,
people
some
who are
people
like,
worship their pastors. So
yes,
I understand this. How I do understand and can see how some people will obsess over something and to the point
yes,
where they forget who they are
they forget,
and who God
yes,
is.
like,
But that's not the case for everybody, and I hate that
no,
that's a narrative that's out there. But like I said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion and have their own experiences. But
mm-hmm. Because
yeah, that's
you
kind of
really do
another
have,
thing because it's some people that are not even in organizations that say that organizations are um a cult or
yes,
they're
that you need.
demonic
Why did you
or
do this, that, and the third? Or this is? Do you realize the origin of what? I'm like, what? First of all, when people
right,
sometimes people say that stuff, I'm like, where did you get that from? I don't
right,
understand because they'll
yes.
be like, this happened, or back in the day they used to sacrifice. I said, well, I want to be like, do you think that if I saw a live or if anybody saw a live sacrifice, we would all be standing here? No,
Right.
no.
But it's so many things that people say are demonic, and I feel like a lot of it is rooting just conspiracy theories and people just But yeah, all in all, my experience growing up in church has a huge part of who I am today, who I have become in my adult life, kind of where I'm
Mm-hmm,
where I'm going in a sense. Like it has a lot to do with me personally. There are always gonna be some good and some bad about things. I don't
mm-hmm,
regret I mean I can't regret something that I had no choice over, first of all, but I don't regret
mm-hmm.
the way I grew up. Um with the church. I always love my home church. It's always gonna be my home church. But like I said, I'm on a whole different mindset and atmosphere right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly trying to work on myself and work on my relationship with God for my own self. I'm getting older, so with age comes more wisdom for some people,
Not for some people.
not for all.
Not
But
for some
you
people.
know, so I
Mm-hmm,
say y'all get to know the Lord for yourself. Don't let nobody
mm-hmm.
else tell you what you should be doing, or this is
And
how
if
you
you
should
don't
be
feel
church. This is how
comfortable,
you should go to church, or this is
yeah.
what you should do.
And if
Do
you
what
don't
you
feel comfortable, try
feel
to
like.
find somewhere that you feel like that you are welcome into. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not church is not a one size fits all type deal. Okay,
Mm-mm.
girl, they got biker churches. They got
Right. There is so many
there are
different
so many
ways for
outdoor
you
churches you can go
to get
to
involved and to do
outsource.
church and whatever you want to do. Like at this end of the day, you is not the
Mm-hmm.
you what you wear is not going to determine where you going.
Mm-hmm.
Wh- The things, what you do, what you say, stuff like that, but
Yeah,
not what you wear, not the type of hair you got on today, not the
not the
makeup you
type.
wear on your face,
You said
not
not the
going
type
to
of
the
hair.
movies.
Okay, Pastor.
And this is another thing I would leave y'all with. My grandma has always said, "What convicts you." So if
Mm-hmm.
you get convicted by going to the movies, then just don't go. If you don't get convicted by going to the
Yeah.
movies, then go. And I mean, a lot of churches don't even teach like the way that we're talking and the way that we grew up. A lot of churches are not talking like that anymore. So, especially our younger listeners, y'all might not even know about all those, rules and stuff. But like, if you grew up in church and your parents grew up in church, ask your parents,
Mm-hmm.
ask somebody, see what they say about how they grew up. But yeah, I think my final thing I want to say is I want to leave y'all with this funny church memory though.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a pageant for my church, right? So
Oh
back in
my
the day,
gosh.
we used to do a pageant like every like year or whatever.
Uh huh.
And this one year we did a pageant, and the pageant was actually a part of the Rainbow Tea.
Uh huh.
So, and if y'all know what a rainbow tea is, a rainbow tea is when like there's a table for every different color of the rainbow, and
Mhm.
it's basically like a big church service but with food.
Uh huh.
It's so cool. I guess I'll add that be one of my favorite memories of church rainbow
Okay.
teas. Um, y'all know we southern, so a lot of that stuff we talk about, y'all might not do that. Up north and on the west and all that stuff. This is what they do in the south. So we had the pageant at the rainbow tea.
Oh.
And these, I was in like two or three of the pageants, and you're supposed to like raise money, and we do like a talent, right?
Mhm.
So in this particular pageant, my talent was that I was going to memorize a scripture. Right now, I was like 6 at the time.
Uh huh.
So for a 6-year-old to memorize a whole scripture,
Girl, that's big.
girl,
Can't nobody tell you nothing.
right?
Girl, don't tell me
So,
you forget her damn forgot. Don't do
girl,
that.
listen. Me and my grandma worked on that scripture for weeks. Okay,
Oh
and
my
it was
god.
songs. Oh my lord, I'm so embarrassed. I don't remember. I think it was the one that says, "The Lord is my shepherd."
I
What is
sure
that?
not one. Psalms
29,
23. 23?
23?
Yeah, that's the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah, no, that's not the Lord's prayer.
Psalms 23?
Psalm 23 is not the Lord's prayer. That's not what I'm talking
The
about.
Lord is my shepherd?
That is not the Lord's prayer.
It is. I just looked
The
it up.
Lord's prayer, no.
Okay,
The
what you talking about?
Lord's prayer, the Lord's prayer is the one that goes
It's right here. It says the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
no, not that's not the Lord's prayer.
Which one you
The Lord's
what
prayer. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm so embarrassed. See, this is why we still working on
look.
stuff. The Lord's prayer
Our
is the
Father which
one.
art in heaven?
Yes, that's the Lord's prayer.
Okay, girl,
I couldn't figure out
child,
what the first words was. I was gonna say,
I didn't know what you was
I
talking
seen
about.
a TikTok and this guy was like, he said, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name."
Yep, how would be thy name? I didn't see
Anyway,
that one.
so it was songs 23. I knew it was songs 20 something. And
Mm-hmm.
I said 29. What song's 29?
Girl, I don't know about that one. I think that isn't that just the continuation.
No. Girl, you
I'm talking
is
about that this whole
confusing
girl.
yourself.
I'm talking about like the whole like 29. It's just glorious. Give unto the Lord, O ye mighty, give unto the Lord glory and strength.
Yeah. So I was supposed to recite Psalms 23, right? The Lord
Mm-hmm.
is my shepherd. I shall not want, right? Me and my
Mm-hmm.
grandma were going over this. The first part, got that down. The ending, got that down. The middle is where, you know, I
Which part you fumble on? Like the part that
the one that
could-
says my cup runneth over. The
my
oil
cup
part,
runneth over the my cup runneth over. You know what is it, girl? I forgot the whole
that
entire thing.
part. That
I gotta say
that,
I gotta say the whole entire thing to know what part you talking about.
that part.
He restores my soul.
Okay, I got that part. It's the one in
Yea,
the
though I
oil
walk through
company.
trial,
Not that part.
death, surely goodness and thou hast prepared the table in my presence for mine enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over.
Yeah, that
Girl,
that
you
part.
know my favorite. You know my favorite TikTok is where girl goes, surely goodness and mercy. Have you seen that TikTok?
Yeah.
Surely goodness, surely
So
the goodness and the mercy.
I had the first part down, right, y'all.
Uh huh.
I was in it. I was like, yeah. When I get to that part with the
That's the part,
oil
girl.
and the
That's the
table
part.
and the anointing, I literally froze. Right.
Mm.
I remember this vividly. My grandma is like she's like, mush me. Like, I'm literally like, girl, like this.
Stand up there.
I said, I remember I said that ride and the stuff. They comfort me. I'm just standing there like I'm trying to get it to come to me, and then everybody's like, "That's all right. That's all right." Yo, that's so embarrassing. That's all right. That's all right. So then,
start over, baby. Then you can.
so then my grandma's like, she's like, say. I don't know what I ended up saying. I don't
Girl,
know.
at that
I
point,
was
you like, can I just sit
so
down?
embarrassed because
You
I
like, can I
forgot.
just sit down?
But me and my grandma went through that freaking scripture like 11 times. It's that part with the oil in the table and running over in
You ain't gonna.
that
That's one of
verse
your
5.
nightmares, ain't it?
Verse 5.
That's one of your nightmares,
That's
ain't it?
yeah. Verse 5.
Oh my god.
To this day, if you ask me to this day, I'll be like, my cup runneth over.
To this
That's all I got for you. My cup runneth over.
Embarrassing, girl.
I forget where the oil go. I forget the table.
Like, you just know that your cup runneth over. That's it.
My cup runneth over.
Girl, she had to make sure you had that part in your head, though.
Girl, we went to that, and that was my talent, y'all. That was my talent. Like the other little girls, like some of them sung. And like, it was a church that y'all, so you couldn't do nothing. But I was like, shoot, I can remember I was a scripture. I'm 6 years old up here. Like, I'm gonna go up there and let the folks know that I know the Lord and I know my scripture.
I know a scripture.
I know at 6 years old, yeah. 2nd grade, yeah. And all the other girls older than me too.
So he was like, look what I can do.
One more thing, y'all. We're gonna go. I think this is the same pageant where another little girl had the same exact dress that I had on.
Oh.
And we had to wear all white, right? And we had this is the time with like the fluffy dresses with the socks. And y'all know the old school early 2000s dresses, right? Girl, my grandma is like a lady that can do everything. My grandma freaking took I had a jacket that went with it. My grandma turned my jacket into a cape.
Yeah.
At the rainbow to y'all.
Innovated.
She innovated. So I had a cape. All the other girls had like jackets, but me, I had a cape. Shout out to my grandma. I know she's not gonna listen to this because she doesn't have anywhere to listen to this to. But love her. But yeah, all in all, I like growing up in church. That's a part of who I am. Made me who I am today. I love the Lord, and
come on, Whitney.
It's a part of me. Like, this is a part of me and Lauren's friendship that we bond over.
Girl, that's my song. I'm sorry.
Any fun thoughts for the people, girl?
Plug into a church if you would like to.
Yeah,
your choice, no pressure.
Right. And if you're not a Christian or very religious, that's okay too. Okay, be who you are. But if you want to learn about the Lord, make sure you learn about it for yourself. Don't go by what everybody else tell you. Not even what we say. Get into the book and learn yourself. But yeah, any more thoughts, girl? Before we get up out of here? Y'all.
I will say. I don't know. Actually, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, you didn't build that up.
I'm sorry. I forgot.
To say nothing.
I'm sorry. I forgot. Actually, I'm sorry. It's been a long day, y'all. But look, be sure to share this podcast with your family and friends and leave us a review. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Hit us up. Let us know what's going on. Inbox us. Give us a little word of advice. Tell us if you had the exact same experience as us. Let us know. We like talking to y'all.
All right. Everything that she said. So yeah. If I sound a little crazy, y'all, my nose is a little stuffy. Forgot to mention that earlier. But yeah. We appreciate y'all for listening to us. And we will see y'all. I say this every week that we gonna see them.
We'll hear from you. Hope to hear from y'all. I don't know. Actually, I feel like to see from y'all sounds a little better. Did you know?
I feel like that's a thing now. We just gonna say we see y'all later. We'll see y'all next week for our weekly check-in, our weekly conversation, our weekly talk. So yeah, y'all. Bye.